So, good evening, everyone. Welcome to another job mentorship and matching session by Sabashija. My name is Hope Nduta for those who are new on the platform and feel very welcome. The purpose of these sessions is to give you a feel of what the industry entails, specifically in cybersecurity. And hopefully, we are getting something from all this. So, for those who are in the Cybershuja program, I know this really relates with what you're learning. For those who are joining from external sources, also feel very welcome to this program and the discussions we talk about. Yeah. So I'll just go ahead and introduce the topic for today and who we have on as our mentor, and then we can hand over the session to him. So we'll be talking about cloud security. Uh, and cloud is very important or is very key to the current practices that we have. Just a minute, sorry. Sorry about that. So I was saying we're talking about cloud security, and cloud technology is quite what is being relied on in businesses, individuals. So this is something that is very relevant, especially to us as techies and cybersecurity professionals. And I won't say much about it because that's what our speaker will talk about. I'll go ahead and introduce who we have today. So we have Joshua Karisa, who is the founder and CEO of Texcortech Systems, a Nairobi-based company dedicated to delivering innovative tech solutions and empowering organizations with robust cybersecurity strategies. In addition to leading Tech, Texcortech, yeah, Texcortech, he serves as a security validation analyst for a US-based organization where he focuses on ensuring the resilience and effectiveness of security systems against evolving threats. So I think he's very capable for this topic, and I'll go ahead and pass the session to him. So Joshua, karibu sana to the Cyber Shujaa mentorship session.
Thank you very much. Hope, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Great. First, I'd love to say thank you. And before I even say thank you, I'd like to apologize. I did join with a different account, so you might be wondering uh, what that account is. But I joined with a different account. I was kind of on transit, and I couldn't miss this mission, this session for today. So I decided to, just jump in with a colleague's account and at least have this talk. Otherwise, thank you very much for this invite. It's an absolute honor, and I would like to also say thank you to Saiba Shuja for actually considering me to be part um, uh, of this talk. It's been a long time since I really got to interact with people from Saiba Shuja and the system brother platforms that we have online. But today, I must say it's really, really exciting for me to be part of this. So I think I'm not going to introduce myself again because I think Hope you've done quite a good job in terms of just describing what I do and why I'm actually here today. And there are a few things that I want us to talk about, just like highlights of what the industry is and how it looks like from a user perspective. Allow me to use that word, like how it looks like, the feel of everything, what is expected of a person who is in cybersecurity. You're there, you've been doing certifications, and how do you get your feet in to the actual job market and start, like doing the things that you see people doing online every day. People doing videos and posts about what they've been doing. How do you get a taste of that? How do you become part of the whole story of cybersecurity? Am I allowed to share my screen?
Yes, yes, sure.
Okay, great, great, great. Okay, so um, okay, so we have about 50 minutes. So I'm going to take us through a bit uh, of of what we are expecting today, and I'll be really happy if you guys join me in it. Consider this as a talk, really. This is a banter between all of us here. We're exchanging ideas. We are not know it all. We are also still in the same journey of learning each and every day. So, let me just share my screen very quickly so that we can start this off. Um, okay, so let me see. All right. Okay. So, can you see my screen?
Yes, yes, we can. I think the rest can react. Yeah.
Sorry?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. All right. So, I want us to start today with uh, uh, just a simple talk in terms of what we're supposed to be doing in today's deliverables. And I did call this the empowering the next generation of cloud security warriors because of uh, Cyber Shuja. That's basically courtesy of Cyber. It's all inspired by Cyber Shuja. And then that was from zero to hero in cybersecurity. So the agenda are going to be four. I'm going to cover four things today. And the first bit will be why cloud security is the future. And also we're going to touch on the key skills for cloud and network security analysts, just a bit of it. And thirdly, we're going to touch on the experience paradox, uh, how how we're supposed to gain skills without a job. How do we get that experience? And lastly, we're going to have like a Q&A session and maybe just try to figure out what exactly is required from where we are, from whatever we are at this point in time. How do we navigate through? How do we move through up the ladder? How do we move from where you are with the skills you are to the next level? What is expected of us? What do we need for us to get there? So allow me to start by asking the first question. Why is cloud security very important today? Why is it so important? Why do we talk about this every day? Okay. So did you know that over 90% of cloud breaches are actually caused by human errors? And that's a crazy number, but it's a very, very realistic number. And it's actually very sad because at some point I always thought way back in the day before I got in cyber, I always thought that, you know what, there's no way like human beings can be wrong or they could actually falter and stuff because you are the same people actually building and designing these systems. So why is it that a human being at any given time will be wrong or will actually falter um, while doing something, and you're the same person who's actually done it? It's just like the same question of asking God, uh, is it possible for God to actually make a mistake? That's a bit philosophical, but let me just say this. let's get back to the point that over 90% of cloud breaches today are actually caused by human errors. And these errors are normally mostly about misconfigured settings or weak passwords and overlooked access controls. And these three things that you're seeing here, these are the biggest culprits of most attacks, of most weaknesses, of most hacks. Simple misconfiguration, weak passwords, because the chances are that uh, the team within an institution is not getting proper training on how to actually, work, how to sanitize their passwords, how to keep uh, their security up up to date, how to be sensitive documents within an organization. So you want to use the same password across all the platforms, and you expect me to not be able to access what you have in your machine. That's a good dream. Poor access controls, meaning that sometimes we have the security systems, but then they might be poorly configured. And that's we're going to be touching on some of the professions in the later slides, just to talk about what people normally do in such situations, or who are actually responsible for any of this, and what are you supposed to be doing uh, uh, in a time that you're in a situation where you find yourself in a crossroad and you don't know there's something that has actually happened within the organization, and then what are you supposed to do? Who is responsible for such issues? And I want us to look at the highlight of today. Now, the highlight here is a very good story, which is extremely sad, that happened way back in 2019. And this was a story of a company that we called Capital One. So, Capital One is one of the biggest data breaches that has ever happened in history. And something serious really happened. I'm not going to go to details to that. I think I'll just drop a link to the whole story of what really happened in Capital One. But over 100 million customer records were actually stolen. They were out in the cold, just like that. This is one of the biggest companies in the US. And you can imagine now the whole story of why did this really happen? Why do we why do we have to experience such issues in one of the biggest tech companies in the world? Why do we have to find ourselves here? See, so this becomes really, really sad. And I wish I had all the time to like discuss exactly the details of what really happened in Capital One. But this is one of the most historic moments in the world that we did experience something extraordinary happening in the cyberspace. So I'll share with you the link of the story. You go read for yourself and analyze, like step by step. Just try to visualize exactly what was happening there. And the mistakes, you will realize that 90% of the time, what was happening here, because the company uses AWS, one of the most robust and super secure platform in the world. But remember, AWS gives you the infrastructure. Then you employ people who are responsible for certain issues, for certain things, for certain controls. In this case, we're talking about security controls. We're talking about system uh, system ops, guys in the guys in the operation room, guys in the security room, and all these are people that in one way or the other actually did make a contribution to this. And remember, when we're talking about cloud security, there are things that are normally overlooked, things that are not perhaps in the cloud, but they might also lead to such devastating news, to such really bad happenings to a particular company. And some of those things are people that actually guard that company. Security starts from the gateman, starts from the gateman. Now, if for instance I work for company X, and then, or let me say I'm contracted somewhere and I've been asked, you know what, we need you to do like a red team engagement for us. And what that means is it might be a fully blown red team engagement, meaning that I'll need to test security from the gateman all the way to the reception, all the way down to everyone else in their offices, you know. The whole idea is to try to get my hands on the servers, or let me say the network within that particular organization, you know. So I just want to get access to that. I might want to come and plug in something within those wires to just get access to that. So if security at the gate, the people in the reception, and the general ecosystem within a company is not properly trained, or does not really understand what is required of them as a responsibility, a responsible employee, what are you required to do, then it becomes a problem. Because
Hello, Joshua. Hello.
sorry,
Yeah,
hello, can you hear me?
yeah. We lost you at some point.
Okay, okay, great. So but you can still see my slide, right?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. So uh, at some point, people need to take a collective responsibility to get to the point where now we're going to be saying that our security systems are properly done, are properly secure, we are well secure. It means it starts with us being able to train everyone from the gateman all the way to the Tigger. Because anything that comes in between them, it might be a bridge. It might lead to something extremely bad for the company, just because the Tigger wasn't told not to plug in random USB drives that they just collect on the ground without them scanning or taking that to maybe someone who is responsible for the systems. So you see, as a security specialist, the buck stops with you, because now we expect you. Maybe you're in the position of a SOC analyst, or you are in a blue team, let me say, for example, and your main job there is to make sure that you are looking at what is coming from where, and how do you mitigate all this risk. What do you do? What is the next thing for you? How are you going to protect your company, not to not to get in trouble? How are you going to protect your machines? How do you protect this data? 100 million records. This is a crazy number. How do you protect that? You see, now, while it stops with you, it means it's upon a security personnel, regardless of the stage, of the level that you are, making sure that everybody else that does not, quote unquote, actually work within a certain parameters, let me say certain dimensions, and this is in relation to security, actually understands what is expected of them for the company to be safe. That's very crucial. Unfortunately, as we speak, not so many people actually know that. How many companies actually do that? Because it might be a little bit resource intensive, but then you ask yourself, are you willing to seriously lose? Are you willing to lose billions of US dollars worth of data because you want to save a few thousand US dollars here and there? Are you really willing to do that? That's the question you need to ask yourself. as an employee, as an owner of an organization, as an owner of a company, are you willing to make that sacrifice? If the answer is no, then it means you need to start investing heavily. And that is the gospel that is going on right now. After these kind of breaches happen, then the next thing that happens is people are going to realize that, wow, okay, there's something that we've been doing wrong here. So what do? We might be running softwares and we don't have any security personnel. We are a software company and we don't have any security personnel. All right, we need to empower our dev. We need to empower our devs. Maybe this is a software engineer who is interested in moving to the cloud and in moving to security and all that. You need to invest in those people, let them train, let them make sure that they understand what is required of them. Just knowing how cloud works is one thing, just knowing how certain services work is another thing, but understanding what is required of you and what is the responsibility as a security personnel, as a company, to your clientele to make sure that their data is actually safe. Now, companies are preaching this gospel throughout throughout the world. They're actually pre-preaching that, and people are investing heavy in security because now they've realized. Uh, the other day I was having a talk with a friend, and we were talking about how Kenyan. We were basically having a talk about the Kenyan ecosystem and softwares and mobile applications. There are researches that have been done by so many researchers out there in terms of how secure the mobile applications that we use are, how secure are those mobile applications. I think there was one research that was done um, by Bright Gameli, I think, and he actually found out that over 80% of mobile applications are not even secure at all. Like that money app that you have in your phone is not secure at all. It means if it's not secure, then it might have a backdoor. Somehow, someone can come in, somehow someone can breach that and maybe get data from you or maybe the company, because you see, this is two-way. You've downloaded an app from company X. Okay, the company does not have the budget to look at the security personnel, and then now some malicious actor comes in, then they um, they succeed to to actually get access to all the mobile phones that are actually connected within the network. So it becomes bad news. It becomes bad news. And most Kenyans think that we are still not yet there. People actually think that, well, these are things that actually happen in Russia and China or the US, these are things that are very far from getting to Kenya. Trust me, you will be shocked at how many times someone tries to hack your phone without you even knowing. These are people who are just trying. Maybe this is a script kiddie who is trying their skills. When you set up a honeypot, it's like a server that is not okay. A honeypot is a server that is not really in use, but just maybe it has files as the actual production server. So you put in files there that look juicy with some information that looks really nice. You will be shocked at how many times that server is going to be attacked from people all over the world. And you're actually in Kenya here. So you can imagine that. So you don't know how many times people actually try to hack your website. When you have certain measures implemented, let me say, for example, you've done like a web application firewall for your WordPress. It shows you certain geographic locations, or let me say, where people are actually trying to come in. Maybe it's a geographical location that maybe has IP addresses that have been blacklisted somehow. So you will be shocked at how many times that website of yours that looks so innocent, you just have a small website that you probably just decided to focus your images, and someone is actually trying to hack that. So people are actually doing this for fun. So security is very crucial. So you can imagine the levels and magnitude at which a company like, let me say, a very big telecommunication company that we have in this country might be wanting to invest in terms of cloud security. So that's how serious this whole thing is. Understanding uh, the repercussions or understanding the but just you getting to understand how bad it could be if your systems are actually compromised. Once you have that understanding, then it becomes very easy for you to start reasoning like someone who knows the direction that they're taking, you know. So it's never fun again. It's never something to laugh about again. This is something extremely serious. And this bad news brings with it some very great opportunities. Always, whenever there's something bad happening, it comes with some great opportunities. And what are these opportunities? Jobs for cybersecurity specialists. All right. So the story of Capital One is just a small bit of it. And when you go through it deep dive, you realize that there are so many levels deep within the same story, so many people in terms of skill levels and everything that actually required. So I'll be using this as a case study or something to make reference from. But all this bad news that we're having today brings about these opportunities. Okay. So it's at some level good news for those who want to get in cybersecurity, and it's bad news for the companies, but it's good news for people who actually have the passion to do this. Okay, is it easy? It's not easy. It's extremely not easy. Trust me. It's not something that you say you're going to sleep, do it within 2 3 months. You're good, man. That will be lying. I'll be lying because it takes a lot. There's a lot that goes on. There's a lot that you need to understand that you're going to be covering there. But let me just cover a bit of statistics when it comes to how juicy the whole industry is when it comes to cloud security professionals and their demand. Okay. And this is information from International Information Systems System Security Certification Consortium, or you might know it. You might know it as ISC2. So they say that the workforce gap, the cybersecurity workforce gap, has reached 4 million. And this was a report that was done way back in 2023. The gap of cybersecurity specialists in the industry was around 4 million. That's a crazy number. So if you're here complaining and crying, there are no jobs. Someone elsewhere is trying to tell you, look, we have more than enough jobs. The question is, do you have the skill? Do you have the skill? Do you have the skill to make this count? All right. So, and also jobs for information security analysts also that includes like cloud security roles were were actually projected to grow by around 32% by 2032. So we're in 2025. So this is a market that is future proof. It's a true market that has been proven beyond any reasonable doubts because everyone is getting online. And every time someone gets online, it's an opportunity for like 3 4 5 people to get actual jobs in the cybersecurity. So that's how lucrative that industry is. Very juicy, but it comes with serious sacrifices. All right. So we are looking at things like cloud security skills and are also among the top three most in-demand IT skills. And that was a report that was done by LinkedIn Workforce, I think around 2023. So you can imagine what is happening now because you see every day people are buying laptops, every day people are buying phones, every day we have startups that are definitely going to go to the cloud because of how cheap it is. You want to spin up some servers in AWS or Azure or GCP or whatever that is. Someone is trying to get online. They're trying to use cloud technologies, and anyone who's trying to use cloud technologies, you should be sure 110% that they need a security personnel. The question is, have you positioned yourself for that? Have you positioned yourself for that? Because we might be seated here saying, you know what, we've been hearing people, we've been hearing people talk about guys in cybersecurity. How do you get yourself there? How do you even land an interview? I have 10 certifications and I've never landed a job interview. What am I not doing right? What is it that people are doing right now that I'm not doing? What is it that people are doing that I'm not doing? That's the question you need to ask yourself. What is that one thing that people are doing that you're not doing? Because the jobs are there. And I'm not talking about remote jobs for some company in Bahamas or in South America, or let me say Canada. I'm talking about real-time jobs in Kenya. I'm talking about real companies in Kenya that need you, but they're at that stage of customer or client acquisition when it comes to, okay, for those who are in online advertisement, there are levels at which you acquire a client. There are clients that mm, don't know that they have a problem, but they sure know that they need a solution. No, they don't know that they have a problem. So when you're advertising for them, you need to position that I need to talk to someone, this client that they have a problem, but they don't know that they have it. That this other class of clientele that know they have a problem, but they don't know what the solution is. And then there's this other class of clientele that they know they have a problem, they know what the solution is. In fact, they know a few solutions, they just don't know the right one to go. All right? Or they might be having these perceptions and conceptions in their heads, or maybe, hey, maybe this is crazy expensive. That's the opportunity. That's where you want to start. That's where you want to get in. All right. So those are all opportunity. All the startups, look at NGOs. So that takes us to our next slide. Now, we need to discuss or talk about the core skills that are actually required for a security professional, for someone in cloud security, just a security professional generally. I've used this word security analyst here just as a blanket term for anyone who wants to get in. You might want to be doing something that is not analysis per se. You might be more of someone like me who's more practical, like, you want to get your hands dirty and stuff like that. So where do you start? What are the skills that are required of you? You might be a beginner, or you might have had 5, 10 certifications, but then you're still finding yourself somewhere. You're still looking for work. You're still applying for these jobs. The question is, do you have the right skills? Because there's no way you're going to be qualified for a role and you don't have a job for that role. If you can't find work from people, then you create one. If you can't find work from people, then you create one for yourself. So let's do the highlights. Let's look at the core skills for cloud security analysts. The first skill that you need to add, first skills that is very important, because you're talking about cloud security specialists, people who are doing security in the cloud, is you need to be familiar. You need to have some skills in uh, on how to secure things like AWS S3 buckets. How do you secure that? How do you do that? How do you go about securing a simple thing as an S3 bucket? Maybe just have images there. All right. How do you secure your images to make sure that um, no one can actually infiltrate your environment? And you will notice that I've used the three biggest cloud providers, just to highlight what you're supposed to be knowing, not necessarily knowing everything per se, but just not to be biased over one over the other. All right. This could be in AW, this could be in AWS, this could be in Azure, it could be in GCP, all this because all the cloud platforms basically function the same. So the only thing you need to do is just master one, just know one. But at least you need to know how to do simple security, how to secure a few things, how to secure your stuff, how do you secure your images, your own images. And I'm not talking about company images. These are things that they need to be practical for yourself. Like how do you secure things? How do you secure your documentation? Okay, how do you configure an IAM role in Azure? How do you enforce security policies in GCP? And all these concepts are concepts that are found in all these cloud providers. So the question is, do you know the main things that are required of you? Do you have the skill of you for me when you come to me and then you ask for work? Do you have the right skills? Because you're not going to show me 10 certifications and you expect me to just tell you, you know what, you're overqualified for this role. Let me take you. In fact, I'm not going to hire you because of your certifications. I'm going to ask you to show me how to do either of these. It could be anything, but I want to understand that you actually know what you're doing. We're in the cloud. Do you understand the concept? Second bit will be network security. So these are questions that you need to ask yourself. Like, do you know how to set up firewalls? Do you know how to make sure that your VPC is well secured? Do you know how to do that? How do you know all the different types of firewalls? Do you know how to implement zero trust? And what is zero trust anyways? And what how do you secure VPNs for hybrid cloud environments? For those companies that have both like on-prem and a cloud environment, how do you secure the VPNs? Basically, what I'm trying to do here is I want to understand that I want to know whether you understand networking. Do you understand network security? You understand networking, then you understand network security. Do you understand the basic concepts? Because all you need are the basic concepts. Nothing complicated, nothing out of this world, just the basic concepts. Have you mastered the basic concept? You need to be more practical with that. You need to make sure that you understand what that is. Third point, do you have an idea about automation? And this is security operations center task. You need to learn at least one scripting language. You need to know at least one scripting language. Python is very popular. It could be anything. It could be JavaScript, it could be anything, but Python is more popular, it's more flexible, and it's easy, very easy. So even though it needs practice, and at this point, you're not going to be like, you know, developing programs or softwares and stuff like that. Basically, what you need is just to understand how to build scripts. And that's why I've put this bash script. You understand bash scripting? You do understand how to use Python. Well, you know how to analyze logs. You know how to look at what has been happening to the systems. Who came where, what has been happening, who clicked where, what has been happening. You're trying to troubleshoot. This is a problem that you have. You're trying to troubleshoot. So now you want to automate these tasks because there are things that are a little bit mundane. You want to automate some tasks because you're not going to be doing them. These are things that you do every day. You might be doing a system check every day morning when you wake up. Uh, Let me say you're a system administrator still. So you wake up, there are certain things that you need to follow. You're supposed to be doing these things every day before you sit down to settle. So these are things that are repeated every day. So that means it's very easy for you to create a script for that, to automate everything for you, just to make your job easier. And it saves a lot of time. So you learn how to script, learn how to use Bash, learn how to just make life easy. That's all. Just use your imagination. Are you in a position to properly use your imagination to make your life easy? Are you? That's the question you need to ask yourself. So these are things that you potentially need, and you must actually know these things. These are not negotiable, really. You must know. Like, these are not things that you come to me, you want something along those lines of cyber. You might not straight away, get that role, but I would ask you, do you know A, B, C, D? Do you know how to do this? Are you familiar with this? Are you familiar with networks? Are you familiar with automation? What have you done? What have you done? So in the next slide, we're going to talk about um, in terms of like how practical all these skills are as we answer the paradox of employment later. Okay. So the fourth thing, so I've categorized these things into four: cloud platforms, network security, automation, threat detection. These are the main skills that you must have. You need to be able to play with these CMS tool, the CMS tools. Talk about Splunk, Sentinel to monitor. Talk about how do you detect threats, respond to cloud threats. There's a lot to learn. There are so many tools around this area that you need to understand, that you need to be able to play around with. You don't need to master, you don't need to cram things, just know how they work. Because if I tell you, for example, you are going to be I need you to do like a network analysis, or I've given you a pickup file to analyze on Wireshark, and then you don't know how to analyze a pickup file on Wireshark. That's a basic skill that you must have. That's not master level kind of a skill that I expect. That's a beginner level kind of a skill that I expect from someone. So these are things that I'd be looking for. Let me talk as an employer. These are things that I'm going to be looking for if I was to consider you for any role that is cloud security related. I need to know that you're comfortable with some of these tools. You're comfortable with um, this, and I'd love us to just I'd love us to mention, just right on the inbox, on the chat box, like some of the tools that you actually know yourselves. What tools do you know? Which tools are you comfortable using? The threat detections. Which CM tool do you know? Do you know Splunk? Are you comfortable with that? Do you know Storycutter? Have you used Storycutter before? Do you know Wireshark? Have you used that before? All right. So which tool do you know? Just type something on the chat box there. So these are very, very crucial tools that are not tools per se, but crucial core skills that I'll be looking at for an entry level person who wants to earn a role in cloud security. Chances are that you're not going to straight away maybe get your hands dirty stuff in the cloud. You're probably going to be dealing with testing a few things. If you're working in a software company, let me say, for example, that means you're going to be having like like test servers most of the times to test the softwares, and then as you deploy that, you're going to be working with DevOps team most of the time. And then I'd want you to understand the concepts and how everything works so that you don't get confused. At a very high level, you need to understand how everything works. That's why it's important for any person getting into cyber. They need to understand the whole process. You need to understand the whole value chain. What is required of you? All right. So, and the most important bit that you must have here are the soft skills. These are areas that I know people normally overlook a lot. People don't even, they think that, okay, fine, you know what, I'm a guru, I'm a Linux guru, I know how to do this. I do bash scripting, I've done this for like 10 years. But if you lack these soft skills, trust me, there's nowhere you're going. So you need to be able to, uh, like you need to be a problem solver. You know, you need to be able to tackle real world scenarios. You need to tackle that. You need to be able to do that. You need to be a problem solver for you to be and take active part in insecurity. Two, you need to be a good communicator. Communication is very important, and you need to be able to like break down very complex scenarios, very complex technical, just explain these technical things to someone who is a layman, someone who doesn't understand. So if you're able to break that down, that means already the problem is half solved, because that means you know where the problem is and you're going to tackle it properly, you know? So you are in a blue team somewhere, and you're a junior member in a blue team somewhere, and then now you have these playbooks. Something has happened and you don't know what to do. Now you go to your senior, and your communication skills are pathetic. So you're asked, now what do I do? You're asked, what was the problem? You can't explain what the problem is. So if the problem wasn't even major, it might have been stopped maybe early in the time, but because your communication skill is terrible, it becomes very difficult for you to communicate a very important message to your seniors, maybe something that needs to be done as fast as possible. So this is a very crucial element when it comes to cybersecurity communication. Learn how to communicate, learn how to express yourself. Just use your mother tongue if possible to translate word to word exactly what you want. What is it that is happening right now? Do you have, are you able to collaborate with other people? You need to be able to work with cross-functional teams to implement and enforce cloud security policies. I'm saying this because I've worked with people from Brazil, guys in Japan, and other people in South America. So most of the time you find yourself in a meeting, sometimes around 1 a.m. And if your interpersonal skills are not good, the truth is you're not going to make it there, because you see, now you get to meet people with different characters, and you need to work on something that is quite crucial for you or for the company in that matter. So if you're not able to collaborate for a reason or two, then that becomes a problem. This is one of the things that we will be looking at when it comes to you getting into the actual market. And the last soft skill that is very crucial. The soft skills are many, but I'll just mentioning the major ones here. Adaptability. You need to always stay agile in fast changing field by learning new tools and techniques quickly. You know, now you've never used Wireshark before. You don't even know how Suricata works. You don't even know what Razor is. But then now your boss comes in and then tells you, you know what, we need to set up a project for this client X, and these are the tools that you need to use. You've never used them. What do you do? Are you going to run away? Are you going to say, you know what, I quit? Listen, there is always a timeline for every project. And if you're not adaptable to change quickly, then it becomes a problem to your boss. You become a liability. You see, you become a liability. And nobody wants to work with liabilities. Nobody wants to work with people who are liabilities. That's just the cold truth. So you need to be very much adaptable and agile when it comes to learning new tools and techniques. Always, because security is a field that changes very quickly. It moves quite fast, and today you might be using tool X, tomorrow you're going to be using a totally different thing. It doesn't mean that you say you quit the job. You need to learn and to move forward. That's the only way you survive. What are people learning right now? What is the skill that are people? What are the skills that I need in 2025 for me to actually make it? What is it that I haven't? You might have 1 million skills already, but you need to check from whatever you're coming from. Am I adaptable enough? Now, here is a question, the big question. the experience paradox. Now, the employer wants experience, but how do you get without a job? That's quite an interesting question there. How do you get that experience without actually working? How do you do that? How do you do that? Hey, Mr. Karisa, man, how would I do? I want to do this, I want to do that, but I don't have I don't have work, and I need at least a minimum of at least 2 years. Just excuse me a little bit. So I need a minimum of at least 2 years. How do you do that? How do you get experience without work? Very simple. You need to have a home lab. As a security professional, if you don't have a home lab, then that's suicide. This is cheap and it's free. All right. You need to be having a home lab for yourself. Just set up something, that old computer viewers, just set up some virtual machines in them. Just, use infrastructure called build, rebuild, break, re-break, build, rebuild, break, re-break each and every time. Look at scenarios, look at things that are working. You go to platforms online. There are so many platforms online, like Hub. You go there, you look for a challenge, download the machines, challenge yourself, because these machines actually built based on real life scenarios, real world scenarios, real problem scenarios from companies. So you need to have a home lab, because when you come to me, most of the times people are asked to describe their home network. All right, I'm not going to ask you. I know you just came from school the other day. Just tell me. But you spent 4 years in school. If you're in campus, you tell me. Describe your home network. Are you able to describe to me your home network? How have you set up? How are you set up? Are you working with subnets? Are you working with? How is your network set up? Is everything coming? Do you just get? You have your DHCP and it just serves all the devices within your home with the same IP addresses from the same DCP, or have you submitted your network somehow? There's a network that you use for work and another network for everyone else. Have you done that? I mean, these are this is a practice for this is common practice for person in security, for person in networking. You need to understand. You need to be able to do this at your home. Start with your home. This is free. Second thing, get yourself some nice CTF projects online so that you can actually do these things and see what other people are actually doing. Platforms like TryHackMe, Cloud Rooms, or Hack the Box, you have these immersive learning experiences. And at some point, you'll need to spend a buck or two just to subscribe to some levels. But these are the things that are going to give you the experience, because what is set up in these rooms reflects real life problems, real problems from actual company problems. So they just replicated those problems for you to see if you are actually able to solve this problem. All right. So you need that experience from here. Other place you do is the open source contribution. You know, that's easy. Open source, things like set up Suricata, put up those old laptop, that nice environment that you need to make sure that you get experience every day. You need to challenge yourself. You don't start complaining you have no experience because you have no work. You expect someone from Safaricom to come hire you. You've never practiced. You have 20 certificates that you did the whole of last year, and you have zero experience with what is happening right now. You're not following any blog, you're not doing anything. So it becomes a big challenge for you to actually even answer security questions. So these are things that are readily available. So you can also do volunteering. This is now very crucial. Now people will be like, want me to volunteer here? Go to that NGO and ask them, look for a problem. Just tell them, you know what? I know one, two, three things here, and I would like to volunteer my skill. So you come to me, you volunteer, I see your work, and then I might consider you for the next job. That's how you get yourself in the system. It's not always about, I've done system security. Oh, I'm a developer. I need a job as a developer. Most times, while we were doing mentorships for developers, what we used to tell them, for companies in the US, they don't hire most developers from Africa because of security reasons. So what do? You look for an entry point. The entry point will be you doing um, you'll be doing something like software testing. That one doesn't need so much from you. But remember, you are a fully seasoned, fully mature, well experienced developer. But when you get there as a software tester, of course, they're going to notice your talents. That's how you get yourself into the system. So you need to know how to bypass the system. You need to know how the system works, do your research, and then what's your entry point? The entry point is very crucial, very crucial. You can't decide to volunteer for people, and I've done this a lot myself. I've volunteered a lot, trust me. But now this volunteer always comes with experience. And whoever you volunteer for will always come out to say, person X, John, have been a good person. He's been doing this, and that. Remember, you're practicing your skills. So you have free resources in this company to practice what you already know. So it's easy for you to move from where you are right now, you have no job, to either land a very good job or be absorbed within the company to work for them, because now you've shown value and how useful you are. You need to make yourself indispensable to get these freelancing jobs. That's it's a wild card. You will make yourself indispensable. So that's how you beat this. You get experience for free, give these experiences for free, because now the question will be either you have no work or you work for free. So what will it be? I'd rather work for free, get the experience, and I know I can land a good job in 6 months. But if I stay at home, I have no labs, I'm not doing anything on the CTF projects, I'm not contributing to any open source project, and I expect some miracle from heaven to happen. Well, the sad news is it's not going to happen. Manna only happened once, and that was for the Israelites. So I want us to move forward to probably the the last bit. I see it's already 8, so maybe um, the areas that we need to be looking at to grow your skills. You need to look for communities to join. You need to look at LinkedIn. Make sure you follow people that you admire, people that are actually doing what you want to be doing. What are they doing? What book? Which book are they reading? Read that book. What are they doing? What do they do? How did they get here? Read everything about them. Personally, I used to admire Kevin Mitnick. I've read all his books, like literally all his books, and not once, not twice, like more than 3 times each of his books, because I did admire how he used to work and how he used to really do his thing. I've learned a lot from that guy. So you need to immerse yourself in real time. What is my mentor doing that I need to do? You can't pick 1 or 2 things from him. Look for someone else. Pick 2, 3, 4 things from them, and then you move. That's how you develop yourself. You join these mentorship programs. Cyber Shuja is doing this. Guys, come here and you need to be trained. You need to be given this. There are skills that you need. They need to impart in you. They need to mentor you. You need to know that this is what you need. This is what the industry needs. This is what you expected of you as a security professional. Very, very important. So these are 3 things that you must always keep in mind. Join a community. Look for your mentor, someone that you admire, anybody. It could be anybody. Follow them, read what they read. Read what they read. Make sure you are in their world. If they have written books, you look for those books. We have libraries, PDF drive there. You can read about guides in cybersecurity. What have they been doing? And then you join the mentorship programs. So, I think from my end, um, I'd say that I've wrapped it up because of time. But I'd want one or two questions maybe
That's fine.
from the
There's no
audience.
problem. Yeah. Thank you so much, Joshua. The Q&A session is open, so feel free.
I
It's
have a
either
question.
okay. Go ahead.
So okay, maybe more of a confirmation. The report that you talked about, I think it was done in 2021, that cloud security jobs are going to increase by 20, is that 35? So with the rise of AI and AI solutions, is that really feasible? Do you still think that cloud security jobs are safe?
Okay, I didn't get the last part. So sorry, I didn't get the last part. Kindly would you repeat?
With the rise of AI and AI solutions, um, is the cloud security position or job roles, are they set to increase or decrease, or maybe they're even decreasing right now?
Okay, that's a very very good question. Well, the AI is basically, I do believe, and this is my opinion, I do believe that AI is actually built, or the whole thing about AI is here to help us be better than we would have naturally be. Okay, it gives us some sort of 2, 3, 4, 5 percentile points over and above what you already are. So we can't really say conclusively that AI is going to be taking over, job roles for people in cloud and stuff like that. There are so many things that people are always taught. There are so many things that are actually happening in the cloud today that you can't say, well, if you don't commit yourself to learn this set of skill, then you will be sure, 110% sure, that you're going to be replaced by AI. Okay? So you need to make sure one thing, that whatever it is you know, whatever it is you do, is not something that can be done by AI. AI is there to help you be better. You're a DevOps engineer, you're a developer. It means that today I can go to DeepSeek, I can go to ChatGPT, and just tell it, okay, I have a problem here, A, B, C, D, and they want it solved. How do I do that? Now it tells me this is the code that this is you do, blah 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 blah. So it makes me more efficient. It makes me more efficient. So the it's always said, it's just a joke actually, that uh, those who don't use AI are going to be replaced by AI. It's as simple as that. So we won't really say that AI is replacing people, real people with real skills, with itself, but AI will be replacing people who don't embrace it. That's it. That's it. If you don't embrace it, if you don't go with what is the trend, if you don't go with the trend, these are things that this is normally a saying in the trading fraternity. If you don't go with the trend, if you go against the trend, just know that you are a loser. You will lose. You will have to lose. There is no any other way around it. So I would say that AI really isn't replacing people per se, and you shouldn't even be worried about that. What it's doing is it's making you better than you are right now. If you embrace it, if you're going to change with change, if you're going to be agile enough to say, you know what, well, um, I'm a sysop administrator, and I want to use AI to help me out in making sure that my staff actually are more efficient in my work. So how do you use AI as a system administrator in cloud? How do you do that? So you learn how to do that. But if you don't learn how to do that, it means someone is going to figure out a weakness in you, and you will be fired. You'll be fired not because of AI is better than yours, because you refused to embrace it. Because if we don't want change, always changes change, always. So that's my opinion. I think that's true for so many people. If we don't get used to the fact that AI is here to help us out, not to replace us, and if we don't learn how to use it, the sooner we learn, the better for us. But if you don't learn how to use it, then it becomes a problem to you. You will soon be replaced by someone else who learned how to use AI. So you will comfortably say and confidently say that yes, AI has replaced you, not by itself, by someone else who learned how to use it. Does that make sense? So that's how I'm looking at it, and that's how you need to look at it. That's how you need to look at it. So AI is here because by itself it can work. It always needs people. So if you have the skill you have now, plus you are able to use AI to make yourself more efficient, because a few years ago it was impossible for someone to spin up like a mobile application in a day or two. We do it. I do it every day. I spin up mobile applications, let me say, for example, my side gigs. Within 24 hours, 48 hours, everything is done. You learn, you've embraced AI. Now it helps you to be more efficient in terms of delivery. But if you don't embrace it, then you do things the old way. It simply means that you are firing yourself. I hope I've answered your question.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Joshua. There's also a report by ISC Squared on the impact of AI and cybersecurity professionals. That's something you could also look at, Lydia. It echoes what Joshua was just saying. Any other questions before we bring the session to a close? Okay, I'll assume silence means we are all doing fine and are good. So I'll give it back to you, Joshua, to just give some closing remarks and then we can bring the session to a close.
Okay, thank you all. Cybersecurity is quite an interesting industry to be in, and uh, you don't expect it to be easy for you. No, don't expect it to be easy for you. It's never easy there. You work hard every day. You learn one thing today. You wake up tomorrow. You don't need it, so you learn something else the other day. So you need to be able to be doing that over and over again. So while you're transitioning from where you are right now, or you're already in it right now, you need to be mentally prepared, psychologically prepared for the hard things. You need to be able to do the hard things. These are not easy things. It's only the hard things that actually have a real reward. So when you see people flashy with their flashy lifestyles online, talking about cybersecurity and all that, these people have actually ended. It's not easy. People are trying over and over again. You go to LinkedIn today, you posting your progress, and you see what have you been doing there, because the only way for you to communicate as a person who want to communicate to the employer. How do I know you have that interesting project of bazaar? How do I know you have a bazaar and Sorry project in your home? How do I know that? The only way I know that is by you displaying it. You have these communities, talk to people. You have LinkedIn, package yourself properly. Make sure you comment on other people's posts, like their post, then do your post. Comment on other people, like their post, then now you post your post. That's the only way you're going to gain that traction for you, to people to start actually noticing you organically, you know. So people start looking for you, and then maybe uh, At some point, it might be someone tells you, gives you an offer, don't say, I've done my research, this role, people have paid this much, because those numbers you're seeing online, you're not going to get them at first. You're not going to get them. You need to be highly skilled. You need to have experience. There's some jobs, they're entry level jobs, and they say they need 5 years of experience. Entry level jobs. Now, how do you even get to that? So, what you want is, as something that I want to say and close, is just to make sure that you're consistent in what you do every day. Don't miss a single day doing something that you like, especially if it's in the cyber. Do something, post something, say something, share with a friend. The only way you're going to be eloquent in this language is a language, cybersecurity language. Is a language, software language for engineers in constructions. The only way you be eloquent in that is by speaking it. And how do you speak it? You look for a friend that is receptive, look for people, write your articles. The more you talk to people, you become more expressive of yourself. So it's very easy for you to describe a project that you have at home, because most people come and then they'll be like, can you describe for me the project? What are you doing? What does it do? So you end up biting your lips so much, and then you don't communicate. You have a real project, a really good project, but then you don't know how to express yourself. So you need to do this every day. Look for a friend, tell them about the nice story that you read somewhere about an attack in Russia. Listen to these great guys, their podcasts. Look for nice podcasts, one or two podcasts that you need to be listening every day. That should be your music. That should be your music. Listen to these things every day, read their articles, follow people that are already where you want to be, and then see what happens. Because this is what we call preparation. And luck is only when a prepared person gets in contact with opportunity. That's when you say you're lucky. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Let's just appreciate him with the reactions and so on. Thank you so much, Joshua. Very well put. Just to thank you for taking us through the whole topic from the introduction to the specific skills, technical skills that are very relevant to this field, the soft skills, and bringing it all down to the Q&A and everything. Thank you so much. That was extensive, and I remember there's just a point I kept on writing and writing. So, as always, we advise you to look at the recording once it's up. It gives you time to internalize and even absorb what is being said, because a lot of these sessions we have a lot is said. Let it not be a regular thing. You come here every Thursday and then you pick up a lot and implement nothing. So my hope is that you guys are listening in and applying these things to your careers, and they're very relevant to you. So thank you so much, Joshua. Thank you everyone, and have a good night. See you next Thursday. Bye.